Hello, this is a summary review of a new voice banking tool called ElevenLabs. And one of a series of short reviews I'll be delivering for all the popular voice banking tools used by people living with motor neuron disease. My name's Richard Cave, and I'm a speech therapist working with the MND Association. Part of my role is to support people living with MND to bank their voice and to train health and social care professionals on voice banking technology, amongst other AAC tools, including the new artificial intelligence technology available to us all, such as ChatGPT and image generation tools like DALL-E. ElevenLabs is a new type of AI-driven voice banking, sometimes also called voice cloning. I will use the term voice banking to represent both terms. It was developed initially for companies needing realistic synthetic voices for automated customer service interactions or marketing materials and high quality voiceovers for videos and audio. In 2024, ElevenLabs made the most powerful version of their software completely free for people living with MND across the world. The Peter Scott Morgan Foundation and Bridging Voices were a key part of this, and I'm very grateful for all their work to make this happen. As with all technology, it's important to understand the limits as well as the strengths in practical use by people living with MND, and I will discuss both as we go. So let's get started. In order to get a free license for a person with MND, if you are a health and social care professional working with them, or if you have MND yourself, send an email to communicationaids@mndassociation.org, providing the name of the person with MND and their email address. Only professionals working with the person with MND or the person with MND themselves can apply in this way. The person with MND does not need to be already registered with the MND Association, nor do they need to in the future, but they must already have a diagnosis. We will send a free ElevenLabs code to the email address given and a link to the step-by-step instructions for creating the account. Once the account is created, you can start to create an ElevenLabs voice using your Apple Mac, iPad, iPhone, Windows device, or Android device. Ideally, you should record with a headset microphone that's physically connected to the device, like this one, and not Bluetooth. However, modern Apple and Android devices, say less than 2 years old, have excellent inbuilt microphones and could work well. Ensure you always record in a very quiet space, though. There are two different ways to create an ElevenLabs voice. One is called instant voice cloning, and the other pro voice cloning. For instant, you can use a natural voice and or recordings. For pro, you can only use recordings. I will demonstrate creating my instant voice now. Although ElevenLabs recommend approximately 1 to 2 minutes of clear audio without any echo or background noise, all of the clients I've worked with so far have got a voice that's acceptable to them with 30 seconds or more recordings. But clearly more is better if recordings are available. So now I'm going to create an instant voice clone with 30 seconds of my voice, talking about the different types of AAC that ElevenLabs currently works with and indicate the ones that it doesn't or may soon work with. Here we go. ElevenLabs voice banks can be used with Grid 3 for Windows, but not yet Grid 3 for iPad, but hopefully soon. It also works with Predictable on both Apple and Android, and ElevenLabs have their own free apps on Windows, Apple and Android, though they are rudimentary and do not store messages, best suited for people with good hand movement and who can easily control a phone independently. The voice bank is available for use straight away. Okay, that's that done. So I shall create that voice. I shall now use my new instant voice. There it is there. To explain how a pro voice is created, which is better quality voice, require more recordings. And just to restate, I'm using a backed voice that I created just a moment ago that was trained on 30 seconds of my natural speech. Here we go. A pro voice is argued to create a very good copy of what it hears, including all the intricacies and characteristics of that voice, disfluencies, breaths, and pauses. You should make sure there's only a single speaking voice throughout the audio. ElevenLabs say 30 minutes is the minimum and 3 hours is optimal for a pro voice. But Bridging Voices, a charity working with MND in the USA, have tested this and say that 10 minutes is usually enough. I now recommend that every person with MND with no or mild dysarthria makes a recording of their voice for 30 minutes, if at all possible, perhaps talking or reading a book. It does not have to be done all at once. I will play my pro voice built with 20 minutes of recordings in a second. So that was my instant voice talking about the pro voice. What do you think? To create my pro voice, I recorded 20 minutes reading a book, and then I uploaded it to ElevenLabs. After about an hour, the voice was ready to use, though I had to go through some steps to validate that it was indeed my own voice and not someone else's voice recording. When we send your free ElevenLabs code, we will also send you steps for going through the validation. So here is my pro voice talking about the different ways people with MND have been using their pro voice and also the 32 different languages that you can speak using ElevenLabs.
People living with MND have been using their pro voices in different ways. One used it to deliver his father of the bride's speech. Another used it to tell her children bedtime stories. A third used it at a large fundraising event thanking all her supporters. And another is using it to participate in podcasts. Additionally, you can voice bank in 32 different languages, including Hindi, Tamil, Chinese, Turkish, Indonesian, Ukrainian, Greek, Czech, Romanian, and Croatian. And if you create a voice bank in one language, you can use your voice bank to speak in any of the others. For example, here is my voice bank speaking in Hindi. काश मैं भारत में रहता, वहाँ मौसम बहुत अच्छा होता और खाना अद्भुत होता.
That was my voice speaking in Hindi, but it could have been any of the other languages. So these are the strengths. And what about the limits? So, well, we already talked about um, how ElevenLabs does not work on every AAC app that people with MND often use, and its own app is quite rudimentary. But I'll now get my pro voice to tell you three more issues.
The first limitation is ElevenLabs only works online when creating new content, not offline, like the other voice bank apps. So there is going to be delay between typing the message and playing the voice, based on how fast or slow the internet connection is. I recommend you support your client to help them create their ElevenLabs voice and then enable them to try it where they normally communicate to better understand if this is an issue or not for them. It is worth knowing that Grid 3 and Predictable enable multiple voices to be used at the same time, and many people use an offline generic voice and the online ElevenLabs voice to use at any moment, so there is less of an issue. People always have a voice to play messages even with no internet. Additionally, anything generated in ElevenLabs can be downloaded and played offline. This means that any messages or frequently used phrases can be saved offline and used without any delay. And for Grid 3 and Predictable, if you save a phrase in the app, it will not need to be downloaded again and can be played without any delay. On Grid 3, even if you don't save an ElevenLabs phrase but you have typed it in the past, it will not need re-downloading and will play straight away. The second limitation is that ElevenLabs cannot repair voices with dysarthria in the same way other services can. However, if your client has recordings, even for 30 seconds or more, then a voice bank can be created from that for your client to review. This approach may have benefits because it is only their natural voice that the voice bank is being created from, not a blend of multiple voices. As an example, I created an ElevenLabs instant voice bank from a 10-second answer phone message repeated 3 times, as it was the only recording the person had, and her husband recognized her voice in it. The third issue is there is a limit on the number of hours of spontaneous voice bank speech that can be generated per month, around 10 hours. This does not affect anything already downloaded. Any hours that are not used in a month are carried over to the next month. Speaking with the other MND associations globally, so far no client has used more than 60% of the allocation in a month. And to be honest, I would be delighted if someone did. There is a cost if the allocation is exceeded, but this can be disabled, or we can make other arrangements, and please get in touch with us at communicationaids@mndassociation.org if your client is likely to get close to the limit.
Okay, so finally, here is my Grid 3. It's Grid 3 Fast Talker chat, and I've added 2 speaker buttons. One that runs the ElevenLabs voice, and the other an on-device voice. It took me about 15 minutes following the step-by-step guide to start using my ElevenLabs voice in Grid 3. If you want to know how it's done, I'll send you the step-by-step instructions. It isn't too hard. I will play the same phrase using the ElevenLabs voice twice to show you how much quicker it is the second and any subsequent time is. This is because there is only a delay when a completely new word or phrase is played, even after you close Grid 3 and open it again. I will then play the generic voice.
Here, on Grid 3, if you don't save an ElevenLabs phrase but you have typed it in the past, it will play straight away.
Okay, and now the second time, playing the same thing.
Here, on Grid 3, if you don't save an ElevenLabs phrase but you have typed it in the past, it will play straight away.
So there was no delay the second time, and here's the generic voice.
Here on Grid 3, if you don't save an ElevenLabs phrase but you have typed it in the past, it will play straight away.
Lovely. So let's go back to the presentation. So there's a lot more to talk about with ElevenLabs, and we are here to help you with any questions. I have a drop-in every Wednesday morning between 9 and 10:30 a.m. And you're always welcome to email communicationaids@mndassociation.org or rich.cave@mndassociation.org if you need help. We are here to do just that. Thanks and speak soon.